Hi.
This girl.
Right, another episode of Crotot, and on my sofa I have this lovely lady. She's paid me to say that. I'm joking. She actually is lovely.
Her favourite person, that's what
on the planet, apparently. But anyways, so we've got a treat because you've got my best friend on the sofa today. Her name is Rochelle. Met her 15 years ago and I've not been able to shake her off. Or has she not been able to shake me off?
I haven't been able to shake her off. This girl was weird. That's all I would say. I genuinely cannot believe we're still friends at this moment. I thought she was so peculiar, but you know, she's a good time. So let's see how this goes.
She's intriguing.
Literally.
That's what it is.
And here we are.
So yeah. So we've got a really special episode today because it's all about friendship and the ins and outs of friendship once you become a mum, and also from a friend's perspective as well. So I think it's a key topic to talk about because I think a lot of times people don't have honest enough conversations about friendships. So to start off with, over to you, my beautiful friend, Rochelle. So intro into who you are and whatever else you want to share with us.
Well, I'm just going to keep it quite simple. So my name is Rochelle, otherwise known as Shell. As Rue said, we've been friends for many years and we've gone through so many life stages together, which I don't think a lot of people can say. Which is a shame. And I think as we delve into like talking about friendship, I think we live in an era where individualism is 100%. A big thing. And I think throughout the years, we've managed to evolve not only as a friendship circle, as a duo, but also as individuals. I would say your kids mean the world to me. You know, they are my children, essentially how I see them. And obviously we're embarking on a different stage of our relationship where we're moving from 2 kids to 3. So that is going to have a change in our relationship as well.
You're going to be changing nappies this time round.
Apparently. And I am the favourite auntie, you know. All the other aunties are going to be watching this, but I am the numero uno, the head honcho when it comes to my babies. But yeah, I would say that I'm very thankful for this relationship and the way that we've evolved through motherhood. And obviously it's quite different because we are at 2 different life stages in saying that as well. You know, you're a mum of 2, soon to be a mum of 3. I don't have any children, but like I said, your kids are my kids. That answer enough about me. I mean, I would say I'm a workaholic. I'm a career girl. I'm also creative. So I write music. I was an artist for some time. I don't know what I'm doing with that at the moment. But very, very career focused and very much I do it for the plot. So I enjoy life to the utmost. That's really me.
For the plot.
That is me in essence. Like it's always going to be an adventure. It's always going to be a good time with me. And that's how I'd really describe myself.
Yeah. Well, you're an extrovert.
Very much so.
An extrovert in the true essence of that word. And I think I am an introverted extrovert.
Yeah.
It depends on what circumstance I'm in and what I'm doing for me to be an extrovert. But normally I'm a homebody.
Yeah.
Completely.
And I would say but we're both very type A.
Yeah.
I mean, the other day you tried to say you're a type B. You're not. She's not. There's nothing about her that's type B whatsoever. You have splashes of, but like I always say to Ravimbo, like I wouldn't want my future husband to know too much of like what she gets up to, because to me she is the embodiment of like, if I had to think of what is a mum and what is a wife,
you keep
not to get her head big because it's not even that, but she just does things so well. Like she properly embodies what it is to be a mum. And that's not to like offend anybody else, but when you think about like taking your kids, like cooking, taking your kids to this club, getting them involved in this, spending home time, I don't know how she does it. I look at that and I think, I'm not doing it like that. Like it's way too much energy.
You'll just get into it because you don't get taught how to be a mum. It's sort of, you just find your groove and you see what works for you. And I've said it to people I've spoken to before that I am so active with my children because I need to wear them out. Yeah. If I don't wear my kids out, they will wear me out. Yeah. So I'd rather have my day organized so I know what I'm doing, because normally I'm a scatterbrain. Yeah. I'm actually a scatterbrain. I'll have 101 things going on.
I guess that's why you need
in my life. That's why I need order. And that's why people then think I'm so organized. I'm like, it's because my life is chaotic. So I need to have some kind of order.
Yeah, no, I
If
understand.
you've heard us on the phone when
know.
we're not doing anything,
No, it's
it's
literally.
literally the house could be burning
Yeah.
in one corner. The other corner, there's like a rainstorm.
No,
The other
honestly.
corner, there's like a hurricane. Because that's just my life. That's my kids, and
It's true.
that's the world that we live in. But we've been friends for what, 15 years now? I think it's
Since
15 years.
2010.
Yeah, so 15 years
15.
this year.
Which is insane.
I don't even know how. And as part of that, you said earlier that we went through different life stages. So we went through uni where we thought we were grown women, and we were actually like, we were infants.
We were so... The graph is real. It's real for both of us. But yeah, met you when I was 18, when we were both discovering like who we are as individuals.
Yeah.
You know, we both come from quite similar backgrounds. Yeah. Very, well, for me especially, I think both of us, very conservative Christian backgrounds. To go into uni.
But we didn't know that about each other until after
and
university.
We weren't very good friends. We were, we were
acquaintances in terms of we were part of the same friendship circle. It's only after university, actually it was in your towards the end of your final year actually, that we started getting
because Ravimbo came to my 21st birthday wearing exactly the same dress as I was wearing. It wasn't the same dress, it was the same colour.
It was the same colour. I didn't get dressed around you. I didn't even know what you were wearing. We just turned up because you like to be me. At least I had a blazer.
At that point, I should have locked her off. I should have locked you off. But yeah, no. So from that stage, and then things changed again because obviously with uni, you decided to change course, you changed your trajectory. I then graduated, and I would say that's when we then became friends. Even in like our personal lives, we were both in long-term relationships at the time. Yeah. Mine ended. Yours obviously progressed to the point that now he's the lovely father of your kids. But even that, you know, that was a difference. Yeah. And then you went on to a very corporate lifestyle. I worked in the NHS, which isn't very different life dynamics. Then we went through, obviously, you getting married. And again, like even now, I know that we were in our mid-20s, but looking back, I always say I feel like we were kids. Like
we were kids. We didn't know what we were doing. Like we were playing house.
Then you got pregnant with your first child. And that for me, I wouldn't say like, it's really weird because, I mean, if I go through friendship and motherhood, it's very different to a lot of people because I think in uni, if you go to uni, not stereotype, but most of the time if you go to uni, most of your friends don't start having kids until after their mid-20s anyway. Like you kind of get settled into your career. However, I started experiencing motherhood through friends or family a lot younger. And already at that point, guess the place where I came from is that friendship was very important. Yeah. So from a young age already, I was there for one of my friends who is pregnant. Like obviously we're a lot younger. You know, people would get flats then. If you got pregnant quite young, we would get a lot of things secondhand. I remember going to help my friend move from like temporary accommodation to permanent accommodation in the council. So already my experience is very different. I've always been very accommodating, I feel, and very supportive because obviously when you're young, at that young age, having to go through the housing system and all the rest of it, it's very traumatic.
It's trying to figure
it out.
Yeah.
So already I had that as a base in terms of how to be a good friend
through
that. By the time you came around to getting pregnant, we were in a very different stage, but I knew that that's the kind of friend I need to be. But if anything, I probably had a little bit more capital, a bit more, you know, I had a car. It was very different. So I felt I could be more supportive. Yeah. And at the time that you became pregnant, one of our other friends got pregnant as well. So
it was a very weird dynamic because we'd gone for a couple of years where we were doing things as young city girls, effectively. And maintaining little bits that we used to do, going to Angel, having cocktails, massages,
London
spa
Bridge.
days, and all of that kind of just like random things that we did. And all of a sudden, it went from cocktails in Angel to afternoon tea, which I know you hated.
Absolutely hate. But I remember, so what I will say is when I found out like two of my very close friends were having a baby.
At the same time.
Literally 2 weeks apart, I would say it's really weird because obviously the topic of friendship is coming up a lot more in motherhood on like social media. I wouldn't say there was an element of jealousy or anything, which I think is there's a bit of jealousy, envy. There's negative feelings, whether it's not that, but sometimes there can be negative feelings, which is completely understandable. I didn't feel that way. Honestly speaking, my main thing was, I don't want them to leave me out and I want to be involved in everything. And like I said, because of the background where I've come from, where there were teenage pregnancies and we always stuck together, I didn't think it would be any different. But obviously, as things are progressive, we've got to get older. I think it was probably easier to maintain a level of friendship in those teenage pregnancy eras than it is as adults, because
completely.
I don't know, maybe it's because we had less commitments, but also friendship, I think, meant a lot more, even though you could argue that in adulthood it's essential, you know, but for some reason we lose that innocence and all that craving to have deeper relationships and a sisterhood.
Goes back to what you said about being individual, because when you're an adult you start thinking about, this is my life, this is what I need to figure out, I need to do X, Y, Z, I need to do this. And sometimes you don't necessarily, it's not intentional, but you don't necessarily create a space for those friendships to flourish. And what was interesting, like you said, as a friend who wasn't having, literally two of your closest friends at the time were having a baby at the same time, you weren't having a baby. But what I saw from you as a friend in that, you didn't abandon
hell no
in that time. And the reason why I say abandon is because a lot of the times I've had conversations with other people around, when I fell pregnant, my friends weren't having a baby, they started going off with other friends, or because we couldn't do the angel drinks anymore, you just went, okay, fine, well, I'll do something else with you then instead.
Well, yeah. So one thing I would say about this topic is, I think we have to get real, and as women, we don't. Like, you know me, I don't beat around the bush with any of my friends. Like, let's be real. Accountability is a massive thing for me. Like, I'm not going to let you get away with, like, you know, victimizing yourself. Sorry if that might, you know, offend some people, but friendship is a two-way street.
Yeah.
I need you as much as you need me. That's how I saw it. And like I said, because I had that example of being there for my friend from when we were a lot younger, I knew I need to be there. Also, I grew up with a village. I saw my mum with aunties around, and that's how I wanted to be. That's how I wanted to be for my friends, because I don't know any other way. I don't understand this new school thing of, I do my thing, you do your thing. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of nuances and context is very important. People have what's the thing called? Postpartum depression. You know, children go into NICU. There's a lot of things that happen where friendship does take the back seat. And let's be real. And I think
it's understandable in those circumstances.
But for me, it was very much, you're having a child, but you're my friend. Why does that have to change? Obviously, you're not going to be able to come out, you know, last minute to concerts like how we do now, or festivals or whatever it is, but it's give and take. Do you understand? So obviously
we can still have breakfst, we can still go for lunch, we can still go for massages, and
it's about give or take. So one thing I would say to people who if you're the friend who isn't there yet for whatever reason in terms of having kids, you need to manage your expectations. I think both parties need to manage expectations. And what I see a lot in these conversations about friendship during motherhood is that there is no give and take. There's no compromise. From the mother side, a lot of the time I see is, well, my kids have got to come first. Nobody's saying they don't. Like, in what planet would you think that I wouldn't want your children to be first? Like, I don't know about you, but I expect a mother to put their kids first. And with a friend, in the same sense as, like, you can't expect to let your mum friend know unless she's got an amazing village, which is why I said context is so important. Some people have terrible partners who don't help. I would say on the other side, for the person who is the parent, is also noticing that sometimes your friend needs more than just a telephone call or WhatsApps or text. Like, that is not enough to sustain any relationship. And that's something, when looking at motherhood and womanhood as well, it's about that we shouldn't just put, it's that age-old argument, isn't it, that sometimes women can put more effort into romantic relationships instead of platonic relationships. Like, in any relationship, whether it's your parent, a cousin or whatever, you need to make a bit more of an effort. So, you know, I found for me, initially, it was very much, in some friendships, it was very much, I'm always the person going over, I'm always the one making every effort and getting into the car. And of course, it's easier for me, which is why I was happy. But then there needs to be something else. And like, I love my babies so much, to a point where I'm used to them screaming in the background, and I'll just wait, or I'll tell them to be quiet. But sometimes I need my girl outside of this space so I can tell you what is going on in my life.
Do you know what? It's not just about you need your girl. If I look at our friendship, the times when I'm like, I'm coming to see you, I don't want to be around my children. Not because I don't love my children. I love my children more than anything on the planet. But I'm also Ravimbo. I'm not just a mum 24/7. And being able to have a relationship with you where I can be just me. If I look at when we went to Jamaica, how great was that holiday? Yes, you know,
that was the first time you left your
I left
child,
my baby and all of this other stuff. 3 days in, I was craving affection. I was craving
I'm not
everything.
that way.
But it was good that I was able to still be me. I was still able to have a identity that is just not limited to motherhood. And I think having a friendship like what we're discussing in the sense of you make that intentional effort, you make that conscious decision to actually go out and do something with somebody else that is not just centered around your kids. That's actually probably what's made our friendship stronger, because I feel like since I've had kids, we've actually got closer.
I think, I would say we don't we don't do things as ad hoc. So before it'd be like,
it's very intentional.
What time we finish from work? I'm finished this time. Let's meet at London Bridge. Let's meet at the shop. Do you know what I mean? Let's meet here. Whereas now we plan our stuff ahead, but we stick to our dates unless, of course, to be honest, the kids don't actually get that. I think last week was the first time that one of the kids being sick, we had to cancel. But otherwise, we stick to our dates and we are very intentional. Like on average, I see you at least every month. And sometimes, depending on what's going on that month, we might see each other twice in a month. And then we talk, we FaceTime the kids. And what you said about you needing to be Ravimbo is very true, because sometimes I'll get into the car or you'll call me and I'll be like, why are you calling me? Where are the kids? Like, and you'll be like, you're my friend. Like, we've actually had that conversation. And that's why, when I listen to these stories online, on TikTok, on the reel, or even on this podcast where they say, my friends moved ahead. Look, I'll be real to say some people are just selfish. You don't even need to be a mother or not a mother. Like, that 100%. Is human beings inherently. But when I know how much some of the mothers have made effort, because obviously I've got a broad range of friends. I've got some mums who've been fantastic in terms of the relationship we have. We still do stuff with the kids, without the kids. It's a very dynamic relationship. And I've got some friends who, I don't remember the last time we did something that was like how we used to, or what the new evolved version of us is going to be. So I think it's very important. That's why I say, like, when we're having these conversations, let's be real. Because of course, in like the first year of somebody being a mum, I'm not going to lie, I think the burden of responsibility does ultimately lie with the person who hasn't got, whether you like it or not, to the people who haven't got kids, it is going to ultimately lie with you, because
you're going to have to compromise more.
Yeah, if your friend's had a C-section, she can't drive, then she's got to get used to like having a child. Like I always say, what do you mean I'm going to have this baby and they're going to send me home to look after this child on my ones? Like, you have to balance with that. And I joke with the girls all the time. And I say, the first year, don't even expect to see me, because you guys know I am not self-absorbed. I don't want to use that word, but I love being me. I love my life. And just the thought of having to balance that scares me so much, because of the two different spectrum of the type of mums that I've seen. Like, for me, it looks like some mums lose themselves.
It's not some, majority do.
And then some,
I did as well.
And that scares me. Now, what I will understand and what I'm resonating more with is the example that, like Rihanna said, you don't ever go back to the woman that you were, you turn into something new. So what I would say is that's why I said, let's be real with each other. Let's give and take. Like, as the woman who hasn't got the child, or the man, because some people might have a very close friend that's a man, understand that probably in the first year, this person's still juggling who they are, hormonally, their weight, like everything is changed, like their relationship with their partner. You do have to get used to that. But then if the child is now 5, the child is 6, the child is 10, and you're still not trying to make an effort to actually spend some time with your friend one-to-one, like, come on, do you know what I mean? So like, every context is very important. You've got to make an effort on both sides at some point.
On the note of being real, I think that is a very broad term. And it gets thrown about quite a lot when people are having conversations. So I'll be keen to get your understanding on being real. If I look at our relationship as an example, where we struggled
Girl, we
on
struggled.
You're such
We
an idiot.
did?
You're so silly.
Go on.
The only time that we struggled in our relationship was when I moved away from London, because
Oh,
that was
God,
the only time we were like, yay, I'm buying a house, I'm moving, yay, this is great.
No, we didn't
And
get to
then
that
we
until
didn't.
after.
That was the very first time throughout this journey where we knew our relationship was going to change. The dynamics, we didn't know what they were going to be, because we're so used to, like you said, being in London together. Last minute, how many times when I lived in London, you'd be like, oh, I'm in your area,
I'd be over.
can I just pop round, are you doing anything, whatever. And then now I'm in a different city, and I think it's the first time that we had to communicate our feelings properly and our needs to each other.
Because I was very present in Esme's, I would say, first 2 years of her life, to the point where I'd knock on a window and like she'd see me and Alex would be like,
and she would
be like, here's your crazy auntie shout, and that brings
and
me
he would
back
joke,
to,
he'd be like, should we cut you a key?
Yeah, no, literally. Also, don't impose on your friends. By the way, that's not me. I don't need to think that all I do is stay in these people's house. Like, it was getting to that point where, as well as having kids, family expands and you need more space. And although we've done very well for ourselves, house in London, obviously crazy. So Rue told me she was moving, and in my head, I'm like, yeah, obviously you do what you got to do in it. And then she told me she was moving to outside of London, in the Midlands, and my heart. And that to me was more impactful than when you told me you were pregnant. Because to me, it's like, well, obviously I'm going to be there. You need to involve me. You guys can't go to pregnancy massages without me. And it's so funny because she invited me to afternoon tea. I said, don't ever bring me to these things ever again. What do you mean? I am an African woman.
She was like, why am I eating these cucumber sandwiches?
I got to eat rice. I don't want to be a stereotype. I got to eat meat, chicken, beef, all the rest of it. Don't bring me around no cucumber sandwiches, please. And suddenly, like, any feelings I had towards that, I didn't care, because I don't want to do that anymore.
You're like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do any pregnancy
I don't
stuff.
want to do that kind of stuff. Like the first 2 years of, having our first child, let's just say.
Yeah.
I got used to that dynamics, just being able to come round whenever, birthdays, FaceTime, like we really got used to it. And then you were moving to the Midlands. That was a massive shock, because it was like, now I need to plan everything to the T, and I can't just come over when I'm having a bad day. Because a lot of things happen during the first 2 years of the first child, COVID, but also in my personal life, where like having you there was so important. I don't think I could have like coped during that time without having you close by. So then having to like navigate that hurt me so much, but I couldn't. I don't have a right to say anything, because you're moving, like, that's life. Do you know what I mean? And eventually that's going to be me one day, It
was so weird, because this was the first time, like I said, like, you're such an extrovert. You wear your emotions on your sleeve. And as your friend in that, it was so weird for me to not know how you were feeling. Because you wouldn't, I knew you were hurt,
you know what it was?
Because I know you were happy for me, and you were like, oh, this is great for you, this is all of this other stuff. But because it was so uncertain in terms of what is going to happen, what is the friendship going to look like, neither of us knew how to have that conversation, because I didn't know how to be there for you as a friend in that respect as well, because there was so much that was going on, because we were moving, I was having to look for a new job, so there was so much that was going on, and we're like, oh my gosh, school for Esme, what we're going to do for that, how's that going to work, how's going to do this? So I was so wrapped up in all of that, which is going back to how we went on to this in terms of when we talk about we just need to be real with each other. What does that actually mean?
I had to be real with myself, because in the grand scheme of things, like, Cheryl, like, what, you're going to be mad because your friend is moving away with her husband and her child? Like, really put it out there. Like, what are you mad about? And again, you are making probably the biggest decision since, I would honestly say being married is like, in terms of like the hierarchy of changes, is pretty low down compared to picking up your whole family, uprooting and moving somewhere else. So I didn't feel a right to impose how I felt, but I didn't know how to have that conversation without thinking, will she think I'm jealous?
Yeah.
Will she think that I'm not supportive? Will she think I'm a bad friend? It's easy, and it's so stupid.
Do you think I'm that
this is what I'm saying. We don't have that kind of, but you do have to consider those things, you know. So for me, being real, something that my cousin said to me, what I say to you is, you be the friend that someone shows you they want you to be, not who you think they need. Okay. So the way I've been able to be real with you is that we're both very frank about the type of friendships we need. So I need someone, don't get me wrong, look, I've got loads of circle of friends. I know a lot of people. I've got some people who are acquaintances, some people who are friends, and then I've got my close circle. And my problem is, because I'm big on community, I thought I need to be that person who's there. What, you're moving, I'll bring my car. What, you're doing this, I'll do this. You're having a party, I'll cook, expecting everybody thinks like that, which is so stupid. But I think everybody has an expectation, and you get to an age, whether that's 25, 27, whatever, where you realize, that's not really needed of me. And I think it was a lot later for me, through people's actions, through people having children, that I realized they're not on what I'm on. So in terms of being real, you have to be real about what people want from you. If someone is constantly showing you that, you know, they only want to meet you at soft play, or come along to this for my kid, or just come over and let's just chat. If that's what they're showing you, you have to be very real. So number one, have the conversation. If you feel comfortable, have a conversation. Say, hey, like, I love doing this, but I need some one-on-one time. I need to do something that makes me feel like an adult, because you need to, especially for me, I don't have any kids. So when I go into these functions, this is not my everyday life. It's not something which I'd ever do outside of being your friend. So I need some things that feel a little bit adult for me as well. So you need to be real and have those conversations. And depending on how they react, that is going to tell you what level of friendship you can have. Okay. And that was a massive, big acceptance for me as the friend who doesn't have any kids. Quickly, I got to, not quickly actually, that's a lie, but over the years, I've been able to establish, okay, this friend is someone who we only talk on WhatsApp. Do you know what I mean? And this is the level of what that community is going to mean for me and what support I'm going to get. This is a friend who will always be here at my big events. So if I'm, you know, if I have a birthday, they might come. If, God forbid, something's happened to my parents, they come and visit. If I ended up hurt or I was in hospital, they're going to come for that. But in terms of expecting them to come to more ad hoc things, in terms of like, you know,
you've got a Monday off, do you want to do something? Do you want to do something?
That's not my person. And that's where I've quickly learned, like, you need to be the friend that somebody wants you to be for them. You know, and they're going to show that. And, you know, I think what's difficult in terms of like watching your podcast and hearing how the women previous to me were discussing friendship is that I do understand that I'm very different. I'm extroverted. I have no problem having these conversations, even if it's difficult, like in the situation we had where it might take me 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I am going to have the conversation with you, because you see me, I can't sit with a feeling inside my chest. I'm going to tell you what it is. And if we're friends,
we should be able to have these conversations.
And and 100%. To be honest, and if you take it wrong, that's more to you. I've said what I need to say, and
it's about how you go into that conversation.
Oh, absolutely,
100%.
And you know me, when I was younger, I didn't have any filter. Not to say,
not to China shop in the nicest possible way.
Exactly. Not to say I'm a bad person.
No,
but
you wear your emotions on your sleeve.
And also, I'm very black and white. Like, I don't honestly see the point of a lot of pleasantries. But obviously, as I've grown up and I've understand that people are sensitive, rightly or wrongly, and people interpret things differently. I've learned to meet people where they're at, to say what it is that I need to say. But that's what being real means to me. It means being the friend that someone wants you to be. Don't go over and beyond for someone who clearly, like, they're showing you that doesn't matter to them. You know,
or they don't want it.
They don't want it. And I watched another podcast where this girl said, you know, she had this friend who was basically saying that she was her best friend, but she's like, you're not that to me. Like, get to that point before someone else shows you that, because that's also going to save you a lot of bother. Do you know what I mean? So on the flip side, that's what it was like for me. My experience of being real as someone who, I've had to watch so many of my friends have children and all the rest of it. And I've quickly understood very quickly what each mother needs and what they see as friendship. And luckily for me, I've got a nice balance, I would say. And I'm very accepting of where people are in their life. And I think more mothers also, you need to have that conversation with your friend. Do you know what I mean? Why are you waiting 6 months? And I understand, you know, at the time, your baby crying and getting them used to, like, getting them on solids or potty training, that takes up your time. You don't have time to have a
It's not
conversation.
even time. I think it's more about mental capacity.
Yeah, and I hear that. But you see, the longer you wait,
The harder it is.
the harder it is, and that's how you lose friendship. And I'll say that as someone who doesn't have kids, and I have lost friendships, because, you know, I'll let them know later. Now isn't a good time, but there's never a good time. Like, and if you really love someone, you've got to make the effort. That being said, like I said, something that's really worked in our relationship is planning things in advance, spending time together, doing things we both equally enjoy, going on holiday together. Like, I cannot wait. It's probably going to be 2026, but I cannot wait until the next time we go on holiday together.
Definitely not going on holiday this year.
We have kept those things going. That's been very important.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that even in motherhood, we both had time where we've need to branch out. So
Yeah.
I noticed very, very quickly on that these friendship with my friends who are now mum, they're not enough for me. And that might sound terrible to some people, but I can't only go out with my friends once a month. Like, if I waited, or my friends who just have kids, I wouldn't do anything. And I'm someone who goes on holiday on my own. I eat out alone. Like, I'm very comfortable being by myself. So I made a conscious decision to make friends who are in the same life stage as me, and that has helped me so much to also be okay. And then I had to have that conversation. That's what I was leading on to.
Yep.
I had to have that conversation with you
me, yeah.
because actually, when you moved out, funny enough, where we thought that was gonna, well, I thought that was gonna be a barrier in our relationship, but then I had to tell you, I had to have a conversation. I said, babe, it's not normal that you live all the way in the Midlands, but the person you see the most is me. Like, you need to make friends with people in your area. I said, like, find out what the mums are doing.
Which was very, very difficult.
School.
And I remember when I first got here, even though I grew up in this area, I spent 11 years away. And all the people that I knew have either moved away or whatever. And life changes in 11 years. Someone that you could be close with, you've got nothing in common with that person anymore. They wouldn't be your natural friend anymore. And before I left for London, they were friends out of circumstance. They were only friends because we were in the same school. We were in the same vicinity, so we had to be friends. And it was very difficult making new friends. But again, this is where we start talking about real friendships, because there wasn't an element of jealousy. You were like you said, it's not enough. I can't, me and you, although we're very close, we're not enough for each other anymore because our life is very different now. You need other people, which
I need other people because
I've had to accept over the years. I've had to accept, but then there's times where I'm like, oh, I'm so happy that you've got this person. I'm happy that you this. Yeah, I'm still jealous that you went on holiday on my birthday. I'll never get over that.
I gotta put me first, Lucia. I gotta put me first. I did. Facts. But
it was like when you were booking, you were like,
no,
I'm booking the ticket, but it's on your birthday.
I felt so bad.
Why are you even calling me? But anyways, but we were able to have those conversations, and I got it. Of course you're going to go on holiday, because I'm not going to do anything. I was breastfeeding. Eli was 3 months old.
Hey.
Where was I going? I wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So it was the fact that we could have those conversations, and you had to realise something, and you were like, right, friend, you're not enough for me. Obviously not in those words.
No, it definitely wasn't.
It wasn't that harsh. But at the same time, then I realised that you're not going to be enough for me, because you're not going to be around me 24/7.
And the conversation was very much, I said, Rue, like,
you need to go out.
You need to meet some new friends. Because at this point, you know, this was before we turned.
This was before we turned 30.
I don't want to say it because I don't want the audience to know.
We're old, girl.
I'm still a ripe lemon. But, and let me tell you, I don't think I'm going to be one of them mum school friends, innit? Like, it's not really my bag. I don't like those kind of cliques. But I was like, that is what you need, because also you need to get to know the people who your kid is spending time with.
Yeah.
And like now,
because at that time it was very much surface level, and I think that's the natural form that mothers get into.
And
it's
Rue
like,
hates
I'll
new
see
people.
you.
So she wasn't even trying to hear it, and I'd be like,
I hate new people.
Yeah.
When I like someone, the thing is, when I have a relationship with someone, I'm all in.
She does. So you're very apprehensive and cautious about who...
because when I care a lot, and I don't like having people in my circle that will ultimately disappoint, because I give so much into relationships.
Same. I think we're very much the same in that way.
And when people let me down, they hurt me, and I don't necessarily always show that, and people don't necessarily see that side of me, because they just see like a strong person, whatever. But if I tell you that I love you, if you start seeing me making you food, that means I actually
She's
love
the
you.
best cook. I love her food so much.
And when you then create bonds with those people and they let you down, and unfortunately over time I've been let down by so many people, and the people that I never expected to let me down, not just people who don't have kids.
Yeah,
Some
in
of
general.
some of the people that have let me down and hurt me the most are people that have been in the exact same situation that I'm in, and I'm just like,
and that's why I say that's what it's about, being real. That's why before you get to that point, you need to quickly recognize,
yeah,
am I being the friend this person wants me to be, or the person that I think they need? Because based on like the way we love people is that we give everything. Do you know what I mean? You need this, da 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 da. I'm here for every single event. You cut your nails, I'm there. But not everyone's like that. So that's what you want to give them. But what do they want? Do you know what I mean? If they just want to be called once a month and they think that's going to suffice,
or they just want to meet at parties,
then that's what you give them. And it's such a shame, because it's the same with like romance. You know, we always say like, should we have to play these games? And no, you shouldn't. But if that's what someone's showing you, you either accept it or you reject it. Because the one thing which you do have control over is your yes and no, like what is acceptable. So I'm glad we had that conversation. That's where I talk about what's beautiful, what can be so beautiful about friendship and motherhood, is you can actually evolve with each other. Like there was no point of me starting to resent you because you couldn't do this. I still have free will. Like I literally have free will to go and make other friends in the same way that you do. And you know, for some mums, you might worry like me. Like I said, for me, I don't see myself as being this mummy group, blah blah. I want to meet mums who just happen to do cool things like Pilates, or go, you know, I love my spin class. That's the kind of mums who I want to meet. Obviously, I do understand that, you know, when your kids get invited to parties, you're going to have to do all that malarkey. But like,
you don't have to be best friends with everybody.
Do you know what I mean? But find your tribe. And that's what I would say. So all in all, I think that friendship and motherhood can evolve, but it takes two people. Sometimes your friends who don't have kids might also think, she needs to be with her family now, so I'm gonna pull back. So what's stopping you from having that conversation? Like I said, obviously being a mother is hectic, but you can do something as well. Do you know what I mean? It's either or. It's not fair that happens, but this is life, and you got to take the bull by its horns in every situation. And for me, I think. And also, some relationships are not going to make it through motherhood. Like,
but then it's the same thing. Like,
with everything,
how many times have you started off best friends with someone at 10 years and you're like, we're best friends forever. We're going to tell each other's names.
Literally.
Then you went to uni and you don't speak to the person anymore. And then you were friends with someone at university, left uni, you don't do that anymore. Then you started a job and you have this best friend at work and you left that job and you're not friends anymore. So it's natural to go through seasons with certain people, and that's okay. But I just feel like if you've got someone who is a true friend, that is not a friend out of circumstance, that is not a friend of convenience, make that effort and do life with that person. Don't put yourself in a box. And what's made us survive is we did life together. So just because I'm a mum, we didn't stop doing life together. All our birthdays, we go, right, what's going on? What are we doing here? Okay, goals. When are we getting our massages? When are we doing this? Oh my gosh, this life event is coming up. I'm changing job. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm doing this.
Crazy.
We actually do life.
One thing I will say is that you've never diminished my accomplishments despite me not achieving the same life goals. So that's another thing which I honestly think if I become a mother, like however I choose to become a mother in 2 months, I'm going to have a much greater understanding of what it's like to have been single, have no kids, because I live alone, I own my own property. Like I said, I'm very career orientated, and because obviously it would have taken me a lot longer to have kids. So I'm going to have my kids in my mid 30s, maybe even in my 40s. Okay. So I have a greater understanding, sorry to say, of how different life is when you are career orientated. When you've had kids as a teen to 20s, you don't understand that. I'm sorry to say, you have never lived alone, most people. You've never had to pay your mortgage on your own, and you've always had someone. Do you know what I mean? It's a very different lifestyle. And I think sometimes in conversations I had, people have been very insensitive about that. And what I'm trying to say is that despite the fact that I haven't had any kids and you know, I haven't got married or whatever, you've made every accomplishment that I've done, whether it's, you know, my music or like how I got my first sync deal with like Netflix. Like, you've made those things so important for me, and you have shouted about that as if, just as how I would if it was your hen party or your baby shower, everything else. And that's very important. And that is one topic which I see in the conversation. Like, I'm very accommodating. Like I said, for me, friendship is very important. I've wanted to be an auntie to these kids, where the mother has allowed me to be an auntie. But on the other side, something that a lot of mums don't talk about is the fact that you don't shout about your friend's achievements. And, you know, your friend, usually my circumstance, has been there for all of your life achievements, singing and shouting, being a cheerleader, being there. But when it comes to them, you don't. And that's what I'm talking about in terms of evolving, and what you said about doing life together. It's very important. And I also think that's why our friendship has survived in terms of the strength of what it is. Like, obviously, I've got some friends who haven't. And it's not to say that we're not friends, but like I said, it's all about understanding where we're at. And what support. And that is very important, because I might not ever have kids. I might not ever get married. Like, I don't know what the future holds for me. And I'm very comfortable and okay with that. But it's about, will you still shout about my achievement, what's going on with me? Do you know what I mean? And like, something which I had to think about is like, when I've gone to like kids' parties, and the first thing you want to talk to me about is like, you don't even know me. You want to ask me, oh, so like, when are you going to have kids then? Like, babe, I might not even like men. I might not even, you know what I mean? I might not even want kids. Like, and what's been very interesting is how old school women sometimes turn when they do become a mum. I'm not saying all women at all. Like, we're not going to generalize. I'm not like all women.
There've been some very inappropriate.
Inappropriate comments. You know, when I was at a birthday party, and a comment was made about, so are you going to freeze your eggs then? Like, babe, you don't know me. And one thing which we don't talk about, and especially about Black women, is the difficulties that Black women do have in conceiving, endometriosis, and if that's even how you say it, PCOS, all the rest of it. Like, we're at a kid's birthday party. In what planet did you ever think it would be appropriate to have that conversation? It was very
untoward.
Also, based on the conversation I see about friendship, I think a lot of people don't necessarily advocate for their friends who don't. And that could not just in terms of conversation, but in so many aspects, you know. So that's been interesting as well. But overall, I will honestly say my experience has been majority good.
I think it's been good for you because you've managed yourself in it. Absolutely. Because if you weren't sure about who you are and who Rochelle fits into her environment, and that environment is relationships, I think you would have struggled, because I know when you've been hurt because of a friendship that has evolved and that has changed. And predominantly, it's when relationships change, it's either a new man has come in, so a new relationship has come in and changed that relationship, or a baby has come and it's changed that relationship. What has been the thing that you cling on to help you navigate through those emotional roller coasters? Because I know you've been through them.
Yeah, I think primarily I have hobbies. That sounds like like a woman with a cat in her house, like no one else. But primarily, like I said, I'm an extrovert, so I do stuff. Like, I actually have a life.
She's like, you hurt me.
I'm gonna go paint.
I'm gonna go do something. I'm gonna go to jazz club.
No, literally, but that's my life, you know. So I do stuff, and then I would say my faith. Like, you know, I'm a Christian woman, so I know that community is obviously amazing, but that is not my worth. Like, I believe in a higher being. I believe in something that's greater than me. So that's what I cling to. And I think when I focus on that, my life, things that I have going for me, that's not the only thing. I'm one of 4 girls. I have sisters. So again, it's very different. You know what I mean? Like, I've got a very good foundation. As much as my sisters annoy me, like anyone who knows, even my relationship with my sisters up and down, because that's siblings. But that's something that I've clinged onto. And also the relationships that actually that emphasize that I am a good friend, that I'm a good person. There's people who love in the same way that I love. That's why I said, like, just understand what everyone wants from you and expects from you, and manage expectations. Like I said, I'm all right meeting some friends once a month, not even once a month, like once every quarter. But then I do need my select few that I see a lot more, and I make sure that's very balanced. I am not someone that thinks that the number of years you know someone equates to being a good friend. I have learned,
Not at all.
especially like during the lockdown, that how long you know someone does not
Means
mean
nothing.
anything. Do you know what I mean? That's not to say that you shouldn't protect your relationships for a long time, because actually it's so beautiful to say that I've known you since I was 18 and I've lost friendships from people that I've known since I was in school that I regret. You know, I wish I did more, because that's someone who I would have wanted to like have throughout my whole life. But ultimately, I'm not afraid of making new friends and meeting people with common interests and common goals. I'm a student of life, is very much what I say. I've got so many people at different stages of my life, and it's like, if that doesn't work out, as sad as it is, we built some great memories.
Yeah.
A lot of my proudest moments now, I'm just so proud of like Esme, and when I see her, and the fact that when she calls me Auntie Shell, like I'm actually somebody that she knows. Like, and I look at her and I just think, how, like, her birthday coming up now, I think that is insane.
Yeah.
And if you're that age, that means I'm getting on with it. Do you know what I mean? Or even the first time she called me Rochelle, and we couldn't stop laughing. Cause I was like, how does she know my
We were all
name?
like, what?
God, I'm Auntie Shell, and culturally, like, you are not allowed to call an auntie by the name. She must have said Rochelle, and we went, huh?
Because we were talking and you weren't, and she was calling you, but you weren't responding. And she went Rochelle, and both of them went.
I said, first of all, how do you know my name? And I couldn't stop laughing. And again, like, I would say I'm the strict auntie. I have like I said, everyone knows what I'm like, but I have such a soft spot. Like, there's so many
You're
times
not strict when it comes to
when
the
she
kids.
does something naughty, I will be laughing. You'll be like, you can't do that, because it's going to encourage them. But, you know, I love this era of my life. Finally, I would say the stage of being auntie that I enjoy the most is this stage. Like,
because you get to do stuff with them, and she actually can talk back now.
And don't get me wrong, like I love the cuddles, even though your kids don't like cuddling once they can walk. When they're young, I'm very much bring them gifts, give it to them, play with. I fall asleep all the time. Yeah. They take so much attention. Like, I literally thought, when Esme was, do you remember one time I came round? Yeah. And I was
when you were supposed to babysit.
I was meant to babysit. And
because I was supposed to be working.
I literally thought you could turn on the TV and watch it with. They don't do that. They don't sit still. I'm like, nah, this is way too much work for me. So for me, my favorite age is definitely this era, 5 to 6, where we can start to do stuff. We can go and have our mocktails, and we can talk, and she can tell me stuff about school. So this is very much like, auntie's arrived. She's arrived. Like, now I can really do my thing. So. I love it. I love seeing them grow. I love the fact that they're an extension of you. Like, I'm in awe. Every time she does, I'm like, oh, that is you. Or, oh my gosh, that's Alex. And just the fact that even she involves me, she's like, I love both of you.
I know.
And you hate that. And that, to me, that's the beauty of friendship.
But that's because you've got a relationship with my children that they know you're their auntie, but they also know that you're my friend, and they're two different things there. If you could, as a friend, give a word to mothers and dealing with or maintaining relationships with friends that are not mothers, what would be something that you'd like to share?
I said, just check in.
Yeah.
Check in. One of the things I often see is that you'll talk to your friend who hasn't got a kid, and like, she's literally telling you that she's dying. You're like, oh yeah, 1 second. Yeah. And the friend has literally told you something traumatic, but you haven't even heard it. I would say just check in and make like even like 15, 20 minutes where you can literally just have some one-to-one time.
Call when the kids go to bed. Because we do that sometimes. Don't call me during this time, because it's hectic.
Do drop off, pick up, and bedtime. So when you've dropped them off and you're calling them back, and that's usually when I'm going into the office.
And we get like 10 minutes.
That's our 10-minute window. I'll say 8:50 to 9. Yeah. And then on our way home from 4 till 4:30. Yeah. But it really
depends. When I'm getting ready to go get them.
But it often depends on whether I'm like commuting for a meeting, because where I work, sometimes I'll be coming back from a meeting and like just after 4, so I'll pick up the phone, and then we do our late night combos.
Once the kids go to bed.
Saturdays we rarely talk at all. Yeah. Sunday usually have church. Like, that's the thing, we know each other. I've got the kids' schedule on my phone. I've got Esme's schedule on my phone, so even though I still forget, I don't know why I put it on my phone if I still forget. So I would say it's just about making it work. And I know, like, for a lot of people, you're gonna think that's a bit mad, like that's a bit OTT. But this is why I say it's about what works in your friendship. And I think this conversation, like, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. And that's what I don't like as well about a lot of these conversations that are, everyone's just so like combative.
Yeah.
But actually, if it doesn't apply to you, let it fly. Like, I don't understand. Do you know what I mean? But you work out what works for your relationship. This is what works in our relationship. With my cousin, we have our Friday nights where we meet up and we have Prosecco and we watch a reality TV show. Do you know what I mean? Then I got my other cousin. We talk on the phone. We go to events together, like R&B events and whatever. Like, you figure out what works for you in your friendship circle. I had my other friend before she moved to Dubai. We started going to the gym together. Then she'd invite me out. Vice versa. Like, you have to figure out what it works with your friend. So that's what I would say. Actually, my word is figure out what works for both of you. For the mothers who have been able to like maintain a friendship, who haven't had negative experience, I would say from watching like reels, etc., that has been the, not the cure, but that's been the solution. Do you know what I mean? You just work out what sticks.
What works.
And to be honest, if that's your friend, that shouldn't be hard work. It just shouldn't.
Yeah, I think as we're getting older, a lot of dynamics are changing, not just because of motherhood and stuff. I think even for me personally, even friendships within mother groups is changing because relationships naturally evolve. And the only times I've seen relationships being able to strive is when they can be honest conversations. And when I talk about honesty, it's about talking about feelings. If you've hurt me, I can talk to you. And if I'm happy, if I'm sad, all of those emotions, if I feel comfortable enough to share with you, then I know you're the sort of person that will receive whatever I say to you in love, not necessarily in to see as if it's combative or it's
I think you're listening
jealousy
to understand.
Or whatever kind of thing. That doesn't happen. And being accommodating as well.
I think that's such a big
friend
thing.
And it works both ways, because I've had situations where someone needs me more than I need them and vice versa.
And we've go through that in our relationship.
100%. I've called you before in tears, like literally as something's happened, I'm like, and I'm like, I don't even know why I'm crying. I don't even know what's going on.
And you don't cry.
Because I don't normally cry.
We don't cry. But
so when we cry, it's like, right, I need my friend. And a lot of that time, it's got nothing to do with actually being a mum at all. It's actually need my friend.
That combative thing is very important, because ultimately, unless I'm lying about a scenario, if I'm telling you how I feel, then you have to accept that that's my experience of you. And we don't like to hear that someone's experience of us is negative. But I know, like I said, I've lost friendships, and I sat down with you and said, I messed up. Like, I was valid in my feelings of being hurt, but how I reacted, how I treated that person, how I spoke to that person was wrong. And I guess for me, where friendships haven't evolved is when I've said, I'm feeling X, Y, Z. And the response has been to be like, well, I don't understand why you'd feel that way. Like, no, this isn't your opportunity to gaslight me. It's an opportunity for us.
It's so crazy.
Do you know what I mean? It's an opportunity for us to sit down, for you to accept what I'm feeling, for us to come to a medium of how we're going to move forward. And for me, I've always been someone, regardless of whether I'm in a relationship or not, I take my friendships very seriously. And again, that's word to my mum, to my aunties, who have always said that, like, you know, you're going to get married, you're going to have kids, but just remember, like, some of these women are going to be like your sisters, you know?
For
so
life.
It's important, exactly. So it's important to make an effort with these women.
I never thought it was possible to be gaslit by your friend.
I think
because we hear this in relationships, like, oh, this man said this to me, or this. But in friendships,
and maybe gaslight is even the wrong word. Like, I don't really want to use buzzwords like that, for lack of a better word.
In certain circumstances,
but
it is
like
gaslighting.
I said, for me, it's an element of just being combative, and being real means also being able to humble yourself. And again, maybe it's because I'm a woman of faith and I've gotten older now, that I understand that, you know, not everything is about making your point. And actually it's about how do people feel. And obviously having that discernment, like, don't let people walk all over you. You know, if someone genuinely isn't coming to see you after you've had a kid, they've not made an effort to come and, you know, give you blessings, even if they can't cook, they can't bring you like a snack, they can't come and look after you and love on you, you're absolutely valid in your feeling for that. But then in the same place, like if you feel they haven't, why are you waiting until you say? You should feel comfortable enough to say
call
that.
your friends and be like,
I have no problem. And that's something that also women need to work on, like advocating for yourself, you know, speaking up. And friendship is all about evolving with each other, loving on each other, growing up with each other, being able to talk to each other about difficult conversation, even if it doesn't feel okay. You know, you need to be able to have that. I'm like that in platonic relationships, in romantic, I have to say how I feel, and that is so important. I think it is an art that has been lost, especially in this, you know, generation that we're living in now. It's so important to have those conversations. We have to be there for each other, you know. So for me, I think friendship and motherhood is what you make it. And that's it, really.
So, you know this is coming.
I've written it down.
What?
Yeah, man, because I can't listen. You've been talking for so long. I didn't want to forget. I said, let me have. But I think we've kind of answered it, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, but it'd be good to hear someone else's opinion, because it's we talk almost every day.
We do.
So if you ask me a question, you probably know what I'm going to say. But what would your question be to the next lady who's going to be sat where you're sitting?
I'm going to ask this. So, what's a simple thing that you can do, or that parents can do, to keep their non-parent friends feeling valued and included in your life post kids?
What's Kim Kardashian sing? It is.
No, it's Chloe. It's Chloe.
Is
no,
it
and
Chloe?
not even that. It's not even that. It's Cardi B, and then what's her face?
Do I follow social media like that?
But yeah, thank you so much for having me. I think it's such a good conversation to have.
What, are you running away? Why are you thanking me?
Are we not finishing? Are we not wrapping up? But yeah, no, it's been really good. I'm glad that we had this conversation. I'm glad that we
figured it out.
Yeah.
And it's taken years to get here. Like, it's
6
I think
years.
we're still evolving. Like you said, we're gonna have a third baby now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's been 6 years of us going through this journey. And within that 6 years, as much as I've had kids, there's so much that we've done. How many jobs have we had in those 3 years?
And I think I've been quite
I've
been quite hands off. We're getting to a point now. Like, obviously I've got tickets now to do stuff with Esme. I'm getting my car again, so I'll be picking them up and doing.
You'll be changing nappies. So, I love how you're taking the easy ones. Anyways, I kind of like you. I'm not going to say the L word.
No, don't do that.
We're not going to. We don't even like each other that much.
No, we don't.
But anyways, I really appreciate you.
You're welcome.
For coming over, for being you.
Like I had a choice.
You actually didn't have a choice. And just being there for me throughout every single life thing that we've done. And as much as I'm a mum, I don't do motherhood with you. I do life with you as my friend, and just really appreciate you for not discounting me, because my life was different. Because you say the same thing about me.
I feel like you have more of a reason to like not be friends with me.
No, but I wouldn't though, because to me, I'm not friends with you because of either what you give me or what circumstance I am in life. I'm friends with you because I like you as a person.
Okay, you said that like 3 times now. I'm joking. I'm joking.
You're never going to hear it again. That's the last time you're ever going to hear this.
Lol.
That's it.
Love ya.